Welcome to one episode more of the Epifania podcast. Today I have Jim and Joel with me, this power couple that are doing an amazing work in the field. They are, Jim is a officer from the Air Force, and Joel is, she comes from the medical field, and now she's homeschooling her kids. But more importantly, they are heavily involved with ministry and doing God's work. And they were looking for opportunities for being able to do more of that work. And this is how they come to this new journey that they are in and that we are going to be discussing right now and sharing with you guys. Welcome, Joel and Jim. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Having us.
Great.
So tell me a little bit more about it. How is that you guys decided to do ministry and what challenges you guys faced?
Okay, so we've been in ministry for many years in different capacities. Right now, we're kind of doing our most favorite part. We're worship leaders, so we love to do that. But as far as ministry, as far as reaching out, I believe we're all called to help others and to do good works in the world, right? So we have a ministry in Uganda that we're helping out. Actually, we're building a rescue home in Uganda, not funded by a church or a big body. We've been working on it, and we have one other couple working with us on this mission. So out of my job, we've been funding what we can and mostly dealing with the sickness and disease of the kids. So we were looking for to make more funds because stuff's not cheap, right? You need money. It's not for prosperity, but you need money to buy the medications, to send people to the hospital, to finally get to building a home and buy land. And I'll let you talk about that part.
So you asked about the challenges of ministry. Is that the question that you asked?
Yeah, I mean, to extend and how those challenges of ministry linked with what you guys are doing right now, mostly for us.
Yeah. So we met this young man through a praise and worship video years back, and we started this relationship with him, this beautiful relationship. He's young, he's in his 20s. He grew up as a street child in Uganda, and he actually survived. His father's a witch doctor. His mother was brutally murdered when he was an infant. So because of what he's walked through and what he has survived, he has a dream and a vision to rescue these children that take to the streets when their parents have either died or disposed of them or have attempted to sell them into child trafficking. So that's his dream and his vision. So anyway, in the process, when we met him over in Uganda, going to school to get a certificate is the first step, but that's just the very first step, and you're not even guaranteed a job in that area. So he was going to school for accounting to get his certificate, but the bigger goal was to send him to college so that he could get a degree. If you have a degree over there, you're considered someone. So that's what we were talking about when we first met him. What would it look like to be able to help him finish school, because he had to register a dead year the year that we met him because he lost his job during COVID and all these different things. So, and he would be the first out of all of his siblings to graduate or, actually go through school. So he has lots of other siblings because his father remarried. So he has a lot of half siblings. So anyway, we did that. Fast forward, we helped him get married to the love of his life because over there, dowry is a very big thing. And, you have to come up with many things, cows, goats, all types of gifts. Yeah, and so now he is going to college, to a university, to get his degree of divinity, which has been his dream his whole life. So the job that he actually works for now, they're paying for his schooling, but that causes him to bring in very little, per month. So that's where we are right now, but we have 19 of them and counting, and we just continue to rescue more and more. The children are spread out right now, different villages with different widows that can look after them. So yeah, this is kind of a start of a little bit of a background of where we are and how we got where we are.
Yeah, I just want to make some comments that come to my mind to the story that you say. First, is how incredible it is when God puts something in your heart, even no matter how impossible it looks, He will somehow work miraculously to make it happen. And he had these big dreams, and coming from such a bad place, but he having all these big dreams that somebody will say, "You're crazy, how you dare to dream this big?" See where you are. I don't know. I just like I'm amazed by these type of things and then how things have been working out in ways that he will not probably be able to plan it. It's all him. Praise Yah. And another thing is, it reminds me to actually a movie that it's very similar. I don't want to get into that, but there's a similar movie. I don't know if you guys heard of a doctor of a yeah. It's a man in Africa that he also helps to bring kids together, and he builds a house and a farm. I'll look for that movie one day and send it to you guys. Please, not the whole division. Okay, so you guys were doing this for a couple of years, I guess, and all, I must say, all funded by your own work, while still dealing with probably one salary and your own son's sickness.
Correct.
That's very commendable. That's very impressive. And so then how do you guys, now guys have been able to pour more into them and to benefit more these people? What happened? What changed?
So what changed was, so we tried a couple low ticket businesses to make money. Like I said, we were looking for ways to bring money in so that we could bless these people, and they did not work. They didn't work out at all. We all we ended up was giving in. We gave and we nothing in return, right? So Joelle had been watching a friend of ours for over a year, right? Who had gotten into this high ticket business, and she was following her and watching her and seeing. So finally she brought it to me, and my response was no. We're not going to do anything else. No, we've already been down that road. And then we sat down and watched a what is it? Master class together, and we both saw the vision.
What made you see the vision? What was the thing of the master class that you are like, this is the vision? What told you?
So I guess first and foremost, the person that she was following, we knew, right? And we saw this working in her life, and we saw what a blessing it was for her, in the situation it got her out of. So that helped a little bit. But then after seeing that master class, and we just caught the vision. We caught the vision of getting out of that poverty mindset, and seeing how this can actually work for us, and that this is the avenue that we needed to go forward with.
Yes. And how long ago was that?
We've only been in this for 6 months.
6 months.
6 months, and guess what? They have land.
Yeah, we've been able to buy the land. We've been able to have it cleared, and we're getting ready to start on the well. So it's moving along. When you step outside of the picture and stand back and look at it, it's like, how on earth are we going to get this done? But God is doing it. Not only do we want to build the child trafficking rescue home, but we want to build an orphanage school to provide education for them. Actually, right now, the children, newest update, Stephen was actually approached, by officers, and they told him the children have to be put into public school or else you could be arrested. They're forced to go to public school, and you probably know very well over there, they're overcrowded, the conditions are bad, the education is not good, the children end up falling behind or not really getting taught very well just because of, the overcrowdedness. So anyway, we would like to build an orphanage school as well, and then we also want to come up with a trade for the young widows just to give them a hope in a future to be able to provide for themselves and their littles, because a lot of them, over there the culture is different. Their husbands can put them away at any time, divorce them. A lot of them lose their spouses to AIDS. A lot of the young widows, the mindset over there, they end up taking their own lives. And a lot of times they'll take their children's lives with their own lives because they just see no hope to be able to get by, to have a future for themselves. So yeah, we see a lot of things, a lot of live video footage. It's enough to bring people to their knees. Stephen will send it to us and say, somebody sent me this. They want me to go in and rescue this child or help this young widow. What do I do? We don't have the means to do this. And, we tell them, go and get them, because even if we can't afford their, daily basic needs, we can at least put them in a safe place to where they're protected. These children are, if they're left to the streets to fend for themselves, they're going to be pulled into child trafficking and, even worse, organ harvesting. So it's highly prevalent over there. And so this is Stephen's heart and his vision. And so that's why we caught his vision as well and want to come up under him and help propel this vision forth. So that's how Goshen Rescue Home was actually birthed.
I know why I guess I get emotional with this thing.
But it's okay. I have moments like that too, but I have to step into a room and get myself straight, and then, yeah.
Yeah, no,
So-
I bet you need to get somehow develop some sort of a strength in order to deal with these things. And I know I was also in the medical field, so now I got softened myself, but I know what it is to having to develop that so much of strength, which is not a bad thing. It's actually much needed. And it must be very, having that weight on your shoulders in some way, because sometimes you allow, okay, I really don't know how I'm gonna help them, but I am doing this, so sure, bring them. And then seeing how God at the end of the day provides and start working out. That's very, very amazing. So what are your plans moving forward with short term? Are you guys going back to Africa?
We plan to go over there, but right now we're just trying to send every penny that we pull in from my ticket along with our own over there to propel this forth. It's very important because the children are spread out over different villages, and I mean, they're very far distance from Stephen. So just what it takes for him to travel and get there, to take them things and see them and visit with them, it's unreal, what he has to go through. So that is a huge priority, is getting Goshen Rescue Home built, bringing them all under one roof, where Stephen and Mary both, Mary is his wife, Mary can be there and look after them, while Stephen's working, because Stephen wants to get his degree because he wants to be able to contribute as well, So they just had their first baby. Yeah. And they just had their first baby, and a little boy, and they named him Joel Nathan Okumu. So yeah, it's wild when I step back from the picture and think about it all. It's touching. It's humbling.
What got you in the first place to do ministry in Africa?
That's a good question.
What's that?
What got
Got us
in the
place.
first place to do ministry in Africa? Like a random question.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Child trafficking and organ harvesting, especially when it has to do with children, has always been a huge passion of mine. And I have looked at stuff over here in the States, like how to get involved, but it wasn't really, most of it was with adults. And it's just, children is my passion. And, I would say, Lord, how do I get involved with this, like hands-on, just besides volunteering, helping adults, or giving money? Because I don't have a degree in this, but God, I know that I only need to know what you have done for them. So the Lord just brought it all together, everything, the whole entire thing, the whole situation, how it all worked out, how we got connected. So yeah, that's how we got into this.
That's very impressive. So also you mentioned something of some health challenges on your own kid as well. How can you expand a little bit on that? And what?
Yeah. So I was working in the medical field. We have 2 kids. Our daughter Madeline is 22. And she's been out of the house for about a year and a half now. She married her high school sweetheart, and she's doing well, very independent, has a great job. And then we have Mason, who is 16, and I homeschooled him for 8 years. He went back to school 3 years ago when he started 9th grade. So he's in 11th grade now, but he was diagnosed at 6.5 with very severe asthma. And I made it my mission to, through the Lord's direction, to get him well, to get him healed through the natural way. I didn't want to go the medical route. Had already consulted with some doctors, and they wanted to slap him with failure to thrive, steroids, inhalers, the whole 9 yards. And I just wasn't going to settle for that. I know that it was the Lord's will for him to be healed. So that was the route that I went. And working with natural doctors, naturopaths, chiropractors, all those things, he was on so many different natural things that there was no way we could leave him in private school anyway. So he went to school in kindergarten and first grade, but he would have been in the office all day with all the different homeopathic things that he had to take to get his body well. So that's where I had to step out of the medical field and just make that my mission, pour everything, all of my time, all of my energy into researching and studying and teaming up, with natural doctors, everything natural to get him well. And so he's doing amazing now. But the water has been, a huge part in helping to seal in the rest of his healing journey. Yeah.
Yeah, this is living water. That's why I love this business. That's why I do it as well, because I understand the science behind it. I understand why perfectly this water works. It is no magic. It's very scientific, logical reasons behind it. And it's just like the ability to being able to bring it to people that need it. So your son had asthma. That was his multiple allergies, right?
Yes.
What we know is like there's immune disbalance, but there's also like chronic inflammation underlying asthma that makes the immune system go disbalanced. So the moment you start, targeting that chronic inflammation, the immune system starts working. And that's probably what's happening, right? How's your son doing right now?
He's doing amazing. We also do cellular hair DNA testing, but it's all homeopathy through a natural doctor. So he's doing amazing. The last recheck that we had, he is no longer allergic to wheat. And the only thing that we have changed is the water. So
I was about to
and
ask, what did you know was the water? Something else.
yeah, no, it's the water. That's the only thing that we have changed. I mean, his body had gotten a lot stronger through doing the cellular nutrition through the homeopathy, but there are still some things there. And the asthma not only was triggered by environmental, but it was also triggered through food. So one of them was wheat, not gluten, but wheat. And the other one was tomatoes, nightshade spices, nightshade vegetables, and conventional dairy. He can have organic grass-fed dairy. So, working through those things. But yeah, we just got the test back and he's no longer allergic to wheat.
Okay, that's the thing. You not only you did remove the foods and it actually improves, but still there was like a leak or something that the water's closed, or what? How was it? Because okay, let's say you find out all of these and you remove the food. It improved, I assume.
Some, yes, some, but not 100%. He improved a lot, but not. He got to the point where he could handle some wheat, but there was a tolerance line, and if he passed that line, he would get sick, vomiting, throwing up. Yeah, so he's been great now since the testing, and the water is the only thing we've changed. The allergies have been a lot better as well. They have cleared up a lot, but there were certain things or triggers, like what did he eat? Oh, we went out to eat with some friends a few weeks ago, and he got something that was spicy. So he didn't know. And so he started eating it, and he's like, wow, this is spicy. And I was like, do you think you're going to be okay? Because he knows his body very well. And he did amazing. He didn't need any of his asthma pellets. He didn't need a Zyrtec, which I do not like to give to him, but I will carry one around with me just in case, which he hardly ever needs it. Haven't given him one in a really long time, but he did great. He did absolutely great. So yeah, that was a big tester right there.
Yeah, that was huge, actually.
Yeah, and like he had allergies. The asthma was so bad. His body was so inundated when we first found out, back when he was 6, that he even had like autistic tendencies because it sent his nervous system into overdrive so bad. And I could never figure out for the life of me why I could say, when he was like 7 years old, if we were getting ready to go to community day on homeschooling day, like, okay, buddy, go make your bed and pick out some clothes. And he would just fold up like a wet noodle because it would send his nervous system into overdrive. So once we had the cellular hair DNA test done, sure enough, they picked up that his nervous system was lagging so far behind. So yeah, it's been amazing to see him, the healing process, but especially after adding in the water, just all the different things that we're seeing in him so quickly. Yeah.
Right. And how many concerts have we been to recently? He used to not be able to.
The hand noises at all. Toilets flushing in like public bathrooms, the hand dryer, tearing paper. Very much like autistic tendencies, even though he wasn't. And that was the nervous system lagging behind and being just completely off the charts. I mean, now sometimes he'll be talking to Jim and I'll walk up behind him and just tear paper on purpose, and like he doesn't even stop. And so yeah, it's been amazing, absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Like seeing him now, you would never guess that that was him.
How do you think God has somehow told you? I just come across people that tell me that it's a bad thing to seek the income, to seek the money and all of those things, and that's not God. So God will provide whenever He wants. How do you think that? I'm curious how you feel God guided you, and how you felt that was a God coming from God and not from, I don't know, the devil wanted you to go behind money or something like that. It's like a belief so ingrained in the mindset of believers.
Yeah, that's a great question. Number one, that's religion. That's not the mind of God. Religion and tradition makes the word of God of none effect, right? Lack is not humility. Abundance is, and abundance being managed well by the Spirit of God, that's true humility. If you stop and look at what we're doing, we don't spend a dime of this on ourselves that we bring in from high ticket. Not a dime. Every dime goes over to these precious people, to, across the globe, to another nation, because God has heard their cries. God uses us. God uses people. God uses man to get His work done on earth. We are His hands and His feet and His body. We should be going outside the four walls of the church and meeting needs of those less fortunate that can't do it for themselves. There's no possible way. So having that mindset, that's bondage. It's religion. Like, stop listening to man and what man is preaching. Get into the Word of God. Get out of the Old Testament. I'm not saying do away with the Old Testament. Get into the New Testament. Start seeking the Spirit of the Lord yourself. Ask Him to show you. His word tells us that He's everything. He'll be your teacher, your father, your mother, your lawyer, your advocate, whatever it is that you need. You start asking Him yourself. What are your thoughts on this, Lord? And let Him show you by His Spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the Old Testament is not necessarily against prosperity or like abundance, and like the Proverbs 31 woman considers a bill and buys it. There's a lot of proverbs about wisdom of being wise with the money. So, and also Philippians, I think it's 2:4 talks about that He wants us to be abundance in all things. I think it's Philippians, but don't quote me. In that, so yeah, absolutely. Is there something that I haven't asked that you guys would like to say or ask or bring?
Yeah. Talking about the water just a little bit more. When we got our water, we came in with a K8. So, and we came in with 2 water machines. So the other one was, we had the idea to let people that we know well borrow it and experience the benefits of the water. And so my dad was diagnosed with nipple cancer right around the time we got the machines. And, he's a man of God. He didn't want to do chemo and radiation or hormone therapy. So he told the doctors no. And we put him on the water. And he drank the water for about 2 months, maybe a little bit less, but he's cancer free.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like nipple cancer?
Yes, in the left breast, he had nipple cancer, and they were telling him
It's like paget, like I guess like a skin crush.
Yeah, he started out with a
wound.
It wasn't skin; it was a lump, right?
Yeah, he started out with a lump, and you could feel it. It was about quarter size, and I asked him, "Is it painful?" And he said yes. And I said, "Well, did you tell the doctor that we used through the cellular hair DNA?" I said, "Dad, have you written it on your report?" And he said, no, I keep forgetting. And I said, you need to write it on your report, or you need to call them and tell them. Anyway, he forgot. So he goes to the medical doctor, and they did a biopsy. They took 7 chunks. 5 of them were non-cancerous. 2 of them were. They said it was slower growing, but the type of cancer that it was, if he didn't do treatment, and with the scans, that it could hide, and so it could grow and metastasize without him knowing it. So, of course, they were pushing radiation. It was like 33 days with no break. But yeah, and he ended up doing the water, but he's been confirmed again by PET scan and by cellular hair DNA that can see down into your cells that he is cancer free. Now, the natural doctor said through the test that he actually had parasites from pork, which is directly, yeah.
I want to, because you basically said briefly like about the Old Testament. We don't eat pork.
Right.
That's why God tell us not to eat pork. It's a reason why God tell us those type of things in the. I just like the Bible is always growing up.
Yeah, so he stopped eating it, but yeah, and got all that stuff cleared out, and yeah, it's just been amazing. I mean, we've seen one thing after the other. My mother came to me a few weeks ago with a UTI, and I put her on the water, and it took her UTI away. And then one of our dogs had a growth on her leg. Started out years ago as this little teeny tiny pimple, and it grew very slowly over the years, and it turned into this, it was like, I don't know, maybe like that big, and I mean, it was big. And it was hard. And so we started using a high quality CBD oil, and that brought it to a head, and it was able to express. But my main concern was the core was still in there. So I was going to keep feeding it. So that was around the time we got our water machines, and we put her on the water, and we slowly worked her up to 9.5. And that thing totally sealed up, closed up, totally healed, flat, perfect. Yeah, gone.
Yeah, no, like I hear so many testimonies about this water that is truly amazing. And I do believe that like Jesus is the living water. He's the water of life. And I am not making any correlation in that sense, or certainly I do, but it's just like a connection for me. God give us life, and he give us so many tools to be able, natural ways. And actually this water is basically simulating Okinawa, like springs in Okinawa. So it's really a blessing thing in that way. I love it, and I feel it comes with him.
And you just a key there. It's the natural, right? This is stuff that was created by God. It's not created by man. And we've gotten so far away from the stuff God has created and trust more in man nowadays, right? So it's good to have this come back into our lives and see how it works.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, okay, so I was on a trip this week, all right? I was on a trip this week, and I didn't have my Anespa, okay?
Okay.
I didn't have my Anespa. That makes a big difference. My skin is dry right now.
Tried the Anespa yet? How did it affect it? Because the Anespa basically removes the chlorine,
Yes.
but also makes like a spa thing. What is exactly like?
Yeah, well, it has the minerals in it from the hot springs in Japan. So
it minerals are inside the Anespa that come out?
Yes. Oh, you don't have Anespa? Oh, bye.
Anespa.
the minerals are inside of it from the hot springs in Japan. So it has 2 filters. One is a regular filter, and then another one holds those minerals inside of it. So he actually put it in my bathroom about 2 months ago because my hair was coming out, and I've noticed the biggest difference in my hair. But go ahead, you can talk about it.
But no, what I was going to say is even using the Anespa, usually during the winter months, just lotion. I'm putting lotion on like crazy because I'm so dry and itchy and stuff, and haven't had that issue until I went on my trip this week, right? And I came back the other day, and I was like an alligator.
A lizard.
Horrible.
You're so dry.
Wow. Wow. No, I mean, so
Yes. So not only what we can put in our bodies, but what we bathe in. I mean, it affects us.
Mm-hmm. That's so impressive. So, how can others get a hold from you and follow the work that you guys are doing with Africa?
Yeah. So you guys can look us up under Joelle Kepka on Facebook. You can write us there on Messenger, or you can also go to Goshen Rescue Home on Facebook. We have another couple that they help us run that page. We're also in the middle of building a website ourselves, so that's going to take a lot of time. We know how to do it, but that's going to take a lot of time. So right now, yeah, that's how you can get a hold of us, either Goshen Rescue Home, or you can look us up under Joelle Kepka on Facebook. And yeah, we can guide you further from there.
That's awesome. Okay, this is something else that you guys feel like to share that I haven't asked.
About sitting on the fence.
About sitting on the fence?
Yeah.
I don't know. We were fence sitters for like a year or so, like we mentioned earlier, as far as the business. Right.
Yeah, oh, actually, that's a good thing. How do you overcome those resistances? Because mostly husbands are the ones. It's like a pattern. Like wives see it, wives see the vision, and husband is like, no, that's a scam. Oh yeah, not working. Who's gonna buy that machine? Nobody clicks on that.
Because we're doubters, right?
I mean, you guys are the husband are supposed to protect us, right? To be the guider. So it's to some extent it makes sense, right?
You're right. Right.
How was with you?
Yes. So it goes back to that master class again. It's a thing of watching with an open mind, open heart, open ears, and just it takes catching the vision. Now, this probably isn't for everybody, but it's worth taking a look at, you know. So I would just suggest people to just take a few minutes, you know, take the hour that it would take, watch the master class, and pray about it.
Amen. Yeah, guys, if you are watching this and you are interested in learning more, just send me a message or reach out Joel and Noel, and any of us will be more than delighted to help you guys and answer any questions. Yeah. So thank you so much, Joel, Jim. It was a pleasure having you guys here and hearing your story, all the amazing work that you guys are doing. And yeah, keep us posted.
We shall. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I don't know how to stop recording now. Oh.